Hey, how's it going? Today I want to talk about just a lack of individuality I find among, I'm going to say young people, but I'm sure it's older people too. In fact, it's probably more older people than young people, but alright, so this is going to kind of touch upon my university experience. I just can't believe the amount of people who have no individuality. How many people follow the crowd, honestly, follow the crowd and have no sober, unique thoughts of their own? Why is that? Why is it that everyone is so fucking boring? Everyone seems to be the same. Case in point, for example, when I was in university, I was the only one out of 6 guys who had anything on my walls. I think maybe one other person had some posters, and some other guy had like a calendar on the wall, and that's it. And then everyone else just didn't have jack shit. Why? Why are people so boring? Why is that? Like, I mean, I know women. I mean, women, it's just pictures on the wall. It's like pictures of their friends and shit. Which is great. I think you should have friends. But it's like, don't you have any individuality apart from other people? I think that's a lack of intelligence. I think it really is. And I think it also stems from you're also very insecure about yourself and wary and very cautious about expressing yourself. And it's very much social conformity. I just cannot believe the amount of people who are just boring. Boring, man. Just, like, if you're living in residence like I was, first year and second year I was off campus in a house, would you at least put like one poster on the wall that's not like the school calendar? That would be awesome. Like, I just cannot believe how people are just so boring. Why? Why are people so boring? Like, don't you express any thought that isn't already someone else's? I mean, you live there for 6 months and you don't have anything on the wall. If you died tomorrow and all your friends couldn't make it, what would you be known as? How would people define you? The way I like to say it, how would people define you without using other people? Pretty hard to do for most people, huh? It's because most people are fucking boring. They're fucking mundane. They are all the same. I found that where not everywhere I go, there are certain places I'm sure in the world that are not like that. People are more down to earth. They are less consumeristic, if that's even a word. Okay, I'll just say they don't indulge in consumerism like the West. They are not petty and just fake. People are fake, man. They just go with the flow. Oh, cloud vaping's cool. Like, let's cloud chase or whatever it's called. Oh, I'm trying to think what, like EDM, for example. Like, oh my god, big room house is cool. Like, no way, man. Like, everyone listen to that. Like, I'm not saying I personally hate the genre, but it's just there are so many people who ruin everything just because a stupid shit like that. Like, I don't know. I just wish people were more themselves and less other people. And I think it comes down to society, and I think it comes down also to insecurity, and people are afraid of expressing themselves. And I think that's tragic because, again, we live in this society where apparently you can do whatever the fuck you want, but it doesn't seem that way, as people are just, they are just so afraid of offending people now with these social justice warriors, and they are terrified to say anything. Terrified. And I don't know, at least youth that I see, majority of people my age, like 9 out of 10 people, whatever they say is like already been said. It's not interesting in the slightest. It really isn't. Like, I have Asperger's, and I do say shit that I probably shouldn't. I don't mean it to offend, but it's like, don't you have an identity? You know, don't you ever say no? What I find in groups is there's one person who has the identity. They're the group leader. And everyone just follows them, really. I mean, it's not to say that once in a while they get shot down, but 9 times out of 10, that leader, whatever they say, goes. And everyone else is just, bah, bah, just, you know, like sheep. They just follow and, oh, we're going to go to some club again. All right, oh, I have no money, but if the group leader says so, I'll just go. Like, I don't know. I know, you know, friendships based around common interests and stuff, but it just seems that people are just fucking mundane. They're just mundane and just boring, man. I don't know. I think we're due for a new change, some sort of change, or something needs to happen because, you know, people say, why don't you have any friends, or why don't, you know, I find most people fucking boring, and the other 10%, I don't know, maybe we don't have things in common or whatever, but it just seems that majority of people I can't relate to because they're just mundane, boring, conservative, not politically, just their way of life, the way they live. It's just like, you know, even skydiving, how can that be conservative? Well, I mean, if your friend told you you got to do it, and you're just like, okay, without even thinking, you're just like, sure. Why? Don't you ever think? I'm not saying you can't skydive, but it just seems that the people now get all their advice from the media. They get all their advice from celebrities. They get all their advice from certain, you know, products or Nike, or it's just like, we're just a nation of sheep. We don't think anymore. There's no critical thinking. You can blame the schools for that. You can blame all sorts of people. But it's just like nobody thinks for themselves anymore. You know, go into someone's room in university. I mean, there are certain people that have a lot of stuff on the wall like me, and you can tell those people, maybe they don't have a lot of friends, but they know what they like. They are passionate and they are interesting. And these other people, they may spew nonsense for 3 hours. It may seem, I mean, if you weren't listening, it may seem like, oh, they know a lot, but it can be complete nonsense. It's the content that counts, not the quantity. It's the quality. So if you're looking for a girlfriend or a boyfriend, if they chew your ear off for 3 hours and you find them just utterly boring and just like everyone else, and they can talk for hours though, but it's just, they're not interesting in the slightest, and maybe it's just their looks. Do yourself a favor, man. Just move on, because people are fucking boring, man. You know, there's not a lot of, there's a lot of quantity out there, but there's not a lot of quality. I told this to my mom, you know, she's like, how do you trying to find a girlfriend? I'm like, I don't try to find a girlfriend, but if I did try to find one, it's like picking through the shit. You gotta pick through the garbage can. You might find something interesting. You might have to dump it all out and just throw it away again, because you gotta pick through a lot of shit in people's lives. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but, you know, I am not a sheep. I mean that. I'm not just saying that because other people are saying it. I'm saying it because it's true. I am not a sheep, and I don't follow, you know, social trends or things like that. I am an independent person. I'm not a hipster, because hipsters are themselves sheep, because they, whatever mainstream is, they have to be against it. It's not to say I hate everything the mainstream has to say. I hate most of it. But these hipsters is like everything has to be completely different, and it has to be, they all do the same thing anyways. You know, I mean, realistically, they all dress the same, they all act the same, they all have that same snotty attitude. They're worse than probably the mainstream. So, anyways, I'm just going to sum this up by saying people are, they lack an identity. They lack this charisma, this charm. They're just like animals being herded. They're just all the same. They could paint them all with a paintbrush, and, you know, unless you were told otherwise, you would think they're all the same. So, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.